With his work on shows like Death Note, the musical, and Heathers, among others, theater actor Joaquin Pedro Valdes is now known to some as the Prince of New Musicals. Joaquin joins us now live from London before he flies off to New York for the New York Comic Con. Thank you so much for joining us, Joaquin. You have done so
Hey,
well.
Rico, thanks for having me.
Congratulations, you've done so well with Death Note, the musical in London. What was basically the process in you getting that plum role?
Well, ironically, I didn't need to audition for it. Some of the creatives were working on a special English language premiere of the musical via a concert. And my agent just phoned me and said that the casting team and the creative team were looking for my availability for said dates. And they were asking if I was familiar with Death Note. And I knew the source IP material, the intellectual property from the manga and the anime. And I knew the creatives involved in making the musical, but I didn't realize how big it was going to be until they actually gave me the role and we put the show on its feet.
And because you've done so well in this musical, you're now dubbed the Prince of New Musicals. But of course, it also entails a lot of hard work on West End. You moved there in 2018 with Miss Saigon and have done several musicals until Death Note the musical.
Yeah, I really get uncomfortable with titles because I know how quickly they can come and how quickly they can go. But I guess new musicals has always been a part of my heart because when I finally settled in London, I've been touring with these big shows like Miss Saigon and The Lion King for years since I moved here to the UK. And when I finally settled in London with my wife, it was just easy. It was just nicer for me to start exploring a more creative process with a smaller team. And it just so happened that these new musicals have trusted me with originating some of the roles. And it's exciting. I mean, not necessarily a commercial success, but you keep grafting and you keep plodding along until, something like Death Note happens, which really just blew us all away.
All right. I mean, West End, Broadway, these are the global stages for musicals. It is very, very, very competitive to even get a role in one of the musicals in both cities, in London and New York. I mean, tell us, how did it all start? How many auditions did you have to go through? Have there been rejections during your career? And how do you deal with it?
Countless. For every job that you book, I would say around 10 to 15 rejections. And since it's nice and glitzy and it looks so exciting and successful, but what we don't really talk about and don't really publicize when we do interviews like these are all of the rejections and the hardship, the mental and emotional turmoil that you go through. And I'm just so blessed to have such a good support team in my wife who has been there through the dark times. Lots of self-doubt, lots of, imposter syndrome, as we call it here, when you second guess if you chose the right career. But you just keep, trotting along and you keep plowing and you keep believing. And with hard work and, looking at each job as, being grateful for each job that comes in front of you, I think will pay off in the end. And something like Death Note might come and, you just ride that wave.
A lot of hard work and perseverance. You just really have to be patient, and that plum role, that big role will fall on your lap. But of course, you're still very young, Joaquin. You've done so many musicals, not only Miss Saigon, but also The Lion King, The King and I, and others. What is your dream musical and dream role at this point?
That's an interesting question. I always get it. Before COVID, I had a whole grocery list of different dream roles and dream shows. But after COVID, I took down all of these Post-its from our vision board and decided that, I'm just going to be thankful and go from each job and take each job. Filipino tayo, we have that grit and that passion to just take each job and maximize it for what it is. And it just so happens that these jobs were not my quote unquote dream roles, but then it opened up another door and another door and another
Right.
door for me to work in great shows and with great creative teams. And I
Yeah.
think even Death Note, that wasn't in my sights. I didn't know how big this was going to be, and it wasn't really a dream
Yeah.
for me. And now this is a massive wave that I'm just riding, and it's incredible.
And of course, after Death Note, you have another project that will take you to 2024. But in your view, Joaquin, are there enough roles for Asians on West End?
It's the doors are now coming down, Rico. There's a lot of incredible Asian talent and people of color, and stories need to be told. The fact that we're telling an East or Southeast Asian story in Death Note and it's a commercial success, I think is a testament to the market and to the interest of the industry in telling these kinds of stories. The next show I'm doing, which is a really, really exciting, classy, and very critically acclaimed show, is also based in East Asia. And hopefully with more of us really breaking the bamboo ceiling, as we call it, more and more stories and more talent can showcase their voices.
And Joaquin, we're really very proud of you. Your calendar for 2024 is already booked, but of course, a lot of your Filipino fans want to find out what project would make you go back to Manila.
Again, I have no idea, and I'm open and I'm willing to listen and get surprised. I would love a reason to come back and sing for my fellow Filipinos. A dream project of mine would be to sing some of the Ryan Cayabyab musicals. So that's a hint.
Ryan Cayabyab, our national artist for music, the maestro. Congratulations on your success on West End.
Thank you.
The Prince of New Musicals, Joaquin Pedro Valdes, joining us from London.